The 76ers apparently have more problems than wins right now, which is a very big problem for this franchise. And the Brooklyn Nets are set to trade everyone and even Cam Thomas. Me and Kev are going to break all that down, plus what's going on with Rick Brunson and the Knicks right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. We got Big Kev, myself, Haize, in the building today. And Kev, man, never a dull day for the Philadelphia 76ers. It seems like they're doing everything but winning right now. They're on a 2-11 start. They've already missed Paul George, Joel Embiid, Maxey. All these players have missed some considerable time at the start of the season so far. And apparently there was a team meeting in which Tyrese Maxey did challenge Embiid to be on time for team activities and said that he's late for everything and he's unaware of how it impacts the locker room. Now, for the credit of this, it was said that there is no problem between Maxey and Embiid actually accepted what was sent in this team meeting. But it also apparently came out in this meeting as well that the 76ers players have told the coach they want to be coach harder, and the coaches said that they want the players to practice with more purpose and attention to detail. Seems like everything is going wrong right now for the Philadelphia 76ers. How you feeling, Kev?
I mean, when you're losing, it shines a spotlight on everything. And when they were winning, I'm pretty sure that Joel Embiid probably had the same practices, the same approach, with coming when he felt like it, and so on and so forth. But now you're not winning, and not only are you not winning, Paul George is working himself back. Joel Embiid is supposed to be working himself back. You haven't played but 3 games so far. You need to be here on time, and if you're the leader, you gotta. The team goes as you go. Like, you gotta show them that you're committed to winning. So, like, I respect Tyrese Maxey for talking to him about it, but I don't like the fact that they even have to talk to Joel Embiid about it. You ain't been playing. You've been hurt. You need to be on time for things. You're the leader. You're the MVP of this team, and it's just not a good look. Frankly, it's just not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot of made over how the 76ers maybe have coddled Joel Embiid over the last few years. And that's not an Embiid thing. I think most franchises' best players get coddled to some extent. But like you said, like when you're losing, you're 2-11. They came into this season with expectations to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference with all the changes that they've made. They just have not been able to get in the win column outside of 2 times. And so I'm sure that breeds a lot of frustration. And like you said, when they say winning cures all, this is what they mean. Not that it necessarily fixes anything or means that things aren't a problem, but sometimes when you're winning, you overlook some things that when you're losing, especially at this rate, it's like, yeah, by the way, you're pissing me off. So it makes a lot of sense when you look when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, like 2-11 is rough, and I get it, injuries, so on and so forth. But everybody's playing with injured players. Every team has some people missing, and 2-11 is just not a good look, regardless of if Embiid is out there and if Paul George was out there and Maxey. And Embiid hasn't looked good since he got back. Like, I know he's trying to work himself back
He's
into
looked
game
terrible,
shape.
not just good. It's terrible.
He's looked awful. So it's like, from a mental standpoint, you got to question whether or not he's there mentally. He's allowed some of the outside noise to seep in and creep into his own approach. He got into it with that reporter. Some Philadelphia fans let us know that they don't like that reporter either. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing that he's done so far for this team is to put his hands on a reporter. And now it's coming out that you're not even showing up to practice and team obligated things, team meetings and stuff on time. I don't like it. I really don't. I don't like the body language from Joel Embiid. I don't like the approach from him right now. And I know, who cares what I think? I'm just sitting at the crib talking about it. But at the end of the day, the NBA is better off when Embiid is playing good basketball. He's one of the better players in the league. Last season, before he got hurt, he was averaging like 35, 36 points a game. So we know what he's capable of, and we just want to see him get back to who he is as opposed to what we're seeing right now. It's just not a good thing.
Yeah, and one of the things that was concerning that came out of this detail was, and again, take everything with a grain of salt, but Embiid saying that he accepted the messages sent, but he stated that he is sometimes confused about what the 76ers are attempting to execute on the court. I don't know about you, Kev. But your best player, your franchise player, the one that this roster's built around, saying that he's confused about what we're trying to execute on the court, that tells me either a few things. Either they've made some changes to maybe prioritize Embiid a little bit less as far as just because of his injury and maybe not playing back to backs, or there is something going on. When you hear also pair that with the fact that the coaches told Nick Nurse they want to be coached harder, do you think there is something that maybe is lacking from the coaching side of this as well that's contributing to this?
I mean, you can hold the coaches somewhat accountable for something like that, but the coaches convey to you what they want you to do, and you're supposed to be receptive of it. This is what your job is. At the end of the day, what were you doing then if you weren't playing? You showing up to practice late. You're not studying the playbook. You're not watching film. Like, what's going on here? You're not talking to the coaches. You're not trying to, like, how can you miss all this time and then still come back unprepared? I'm just gonna be honest about it. That's more on the players than it is on the coaches. Like, come on now. Like,
Yeah.
the coaches can't go out there and run the plays for you. You guys are multi-millionaires. You get paid to play a game. You should at least be prepared for it. You would never hear something like this from Kobe or LeBron. And now we did hear LeBron say back on one, I think it was the shop, when he was saying that, he can run plays on both sides of the floor, and there are players in the NBA where if you call the same play on the left side that you call on the right side, they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, wow, that's shocking to me. Like, you would expect people to at least take their craft seriously enough to at least know what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it, especially when you're a star player. I wouldn't even say that out loud if honestly, like,
Bro, like exactly. You're a former MVP. There's no way you can ever get me to admit I'm confused about what we're trying to do out there on the court. Like, this is your life. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I think that does speak to that. There's still some big chemistry things that this team needs to work out, and they haven't been able to work it out because everybody's been injured. You've had Embiid gone, and then Paul George came back after Embiid went down. Then Maxey went down, and so you just haven't had where your best three players have been on the court for a substantial amount of time or any time, and you're hoping to get that in. With that, even with all this drama coming out, we did get a positive update, is that right now, per Shams Charania, that Maxey is expected to make his return this week, either Wednesday in Memphis or Friday against the Brooklyn Nets. How important do you think it is to get Maxey back on the court so that this team could start figuring out some of this shit they got going on?
Very important. He's an all-star. He was averaging 26, 28 points, something like that when PG and Embiid were out. He's the engine that helps this team go. They need him out there for sure. Like, they can't rely on Kyle Lowry and they've who's that? One of the twins out there as well.
Marcus, I think. Is it Marcus?
No, not the light skinned dudes. One of them played for Charlotte, or used to play for Charlotte. But anyway, Cody.
You're right. It's not the it's Jesus, the former guy who was with the Heat. Jesus, why am I forgetting his name?
Is it Cody or something like that? Yeah. I don't know. But you can't rely on your others to the degree that they have to rely
Caleb
on.
Martin.
There you go. Caleb Martin. So, like, those guys, they gave up on Big Mouth out in the Warriors, Big Teeth, Buddy Hield.
Bro, you in the names, bro. You are uncle for real, bro. This man got nicknames for everyone.
They gave up on Buddy Hield. He didn't really fit into their system, but they could use him right now with these injuries, the way he's playing in Golden State. At the end of the day, Tyrese Maxey is their go-to guy, like one of their go-to guys, 1A, 1B, 1C type situation, where when PG doesn't have it going, and B definitely doesn't have it going right now, they could use a Tyrese Maxey who can get to the basket, who can hit the three, who can, fill the lanes on defense and steal the ball, all the different things that he brings. It's too important to this team. And 2-11 is going to be tough to get out of. And the Eastern Conference is a lot better. The Pistons are playing better. The Charlotte Hornets are playing better. Brooklyn Nets are playing better. Like, the teams that are typically the punching bags in the Eastern Conference are going to give you a fight every single night, with or without your best players. So you need your best players on the floor at all times.
That's a fact. Now, you mentioned the Brooklyn Nets, which brings us to our next topic, Kev. Per Sam Amick with The Athletic, is that the Nets are expected to be open for business when it comes to trading, saying that Cam Thomas is wildly considered available, but it doesn't stop there. Dennis Schroder, Bojan Bogdanovic, even Nick Claxton all players that are expected to be right now on the trade market by the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets have been a surprising team as far as they were 5th in the East just a couple of days ago. Now they fall into 11th in the East. But this is a team that we all expected to struggle. And I think they came out the gate better than maybe even what they wanted to be. And now they're ready to sell just about everyone who has any type of trade value. What do you think, Kev?
I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy. Like you got some young people to build around. You already moved off Bridges, and Cam Thomas is a bona fide scorer in this league, and you really don't find those types of players like him just laying around. Like he could have been traded a couple of seasons ago and been a diamond in the rough type player. Like he's averaging 25 points a game and 40% from three. Your boy Dennis Schroder is the stabilizing factor of all of this. Like you brought him in, and he has stabilized this team. Because even though they only got 5 wins right now, they're 5-9. They could easily be 7-7. There's a couple of games they lost in overtime. One of them to Boston, I think. One to Denver. There's some games they lost that they could have won. So I just don't understand selling high at this point. But hey, it's the Brooklyn Nets. Like I don't expect them to do.
I mean, there are some players I expect I can understand. Like honestly, Dennis Schroder, like he's having an amazing season. He's 31 years old and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. He's playing great, right? There's no knock on how he's playing, but I can understand you. Hey, if a team, especially contender, needs a point guard, I can understand why you want to move him. Bojan Bogdanovic, 35 years old, unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. I can understand why you want to move him. Cam Thomas is an interesting scenario because what does that mean? He's a restricted free agent at the end of the season. Did he sign a new deal?
Nope.
So he's a restricted free agent at the end of next season
right now.
So I can understand that if you don't want to deal with that, you look to move him and let the other teams, because you look at it, you're probably so far away from actually being a contender. Like the Nets right now are all in the race for the flag. That's just what this tells me. But to me, if you can keep a young scoring guard, and if you get lucky and get him, you got a 1-2 punch there. Like you're not paying, like they're not going to be cash strapped for money anytime soon. They're $110 million underneath the first tax apron next year, and that's if they keep everyone, right? So here's the thing. I think that the Nets, I understand you wanting to go all in, you want to acquire picks, if you want to go after Cooper Flag, but there are some pieces here that you don't necessarily have to look to move. And Nick Claxton's a guy who the season hasn't necessarily started off how last season finished for him. You just gave him a contract extension that it's descaling, so it gets less every single year. I mean, we knew that the Nets are inept run franchise. This is who they've been. But I can absolutely see if they move off all these guys, this coming back to bite them in the ass.
Absolutely. Like Thomas and Johnson, the two Cams should be the people they want to keep. You should want to keep those players. There's no reason. I mean, I get it. Nick Claxton, injury prone, so on and so forth. Dorian Finney-Smith, a little older. Dennis Schroder has some value, but I don't understand wanting to get rid of Johnson or Thompson. I'm sorry, with Thomas. I just don't get it. They're both really good young pieces that you can build around when a Cooper Flag or an Ace Bailey or whoever it is that you tank to get comes to the team. It just doesn't make sense to move off of everybody unless they're talking about, like with Cam Thomas, for example. If a team is willing to give you a first round pick for him, then maybe I can see it. But like, I mean, in this year's draft, so you trying to stockpile picks for this upcoming draft? But I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and I mean, Emick said in this too, the reality is that nobody is off the table. And, I mean, listen, I can understand a franchise setting a clear path, not trying to live in two worlds. But like I said, Cam Thomas is a guy that even if you reset your timeline, Cam Johnson, he's 28, maybe he's a little bit older. You can make a conversation there. But Cam Thomas is a guy that fits your timeline regardless of what you're trying to do. He's 23. I don't understand moving off him. But hey, if you want to go into access, and like you said, if it is 2 picks in this draft, I guess cool if you do that. There's always going to be teams that need scoring, and maybe it doesn't blow up in their face. But right now, if I had a bet, is like I think even if they do luck up and let's just say they do luck up and get Cooper Flag, unless they hit on all their picks going forward, you're gonna have Cooper Flag and a lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen it happen to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So they'll get the player that they want, and then they can't properly build around them. That's an organizational thing, though. I don't trust the Brooklyn Nets to be able to properly build around Cooper Flag if they do get him. They just haven't shown the propensity to do so. And then when they did try to go all in, they went and got a whole bunch of old body veterans to try to do it then. First time with Kevin Garnett and them, and then the second time with James Harden and Kevin Durant. They came within a toe of the Eastern Conference Finals. We all know the story, but that team wasn't a team. You had the team. You had the team when you had Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, and you had Kenny Atkinson. And guess what? Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, and Kenny Atkinson are killing on an undefeated Cleveland
That's
team.
crazy.
So it's like,
yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even think about put that all together. That's crazy, but very accurate. Here's the one question I'm gonna throw to you with the Cam Thomas thing. Maybe the Nets, because keep in mind they see him every single day. He's there. Maybe there's some thought in the Nets that Cam Thomas is a guy that can put up points on a team with no expectations, but maybe they don't view him as a guy that could do that with a team with expectations, and they just want to go ahead and take advantage while his value's probably at an all-time high, and maybe swindle a team. Maybe.
I can see that because he does take a lot of bad shots. He makes them, but he takes them. Like he is not afraid of any shot. There ain't a shot on the court that he's afraid to take. So you could be right about that. We've seen plenty of players like him that can put up numbers on a bad squad, and then they go to another team and they just don't look like themselves because they got higher expectations on them. So we'll see what that really means. But I like what I've seen from him from a year and a half now at this point. It's not like he's just starting to do it this season. He did it last season too, pretty consistently.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Last stop before we get out of here, and I know this is one that's going to trigger a lot of people because I got shit to say about this one. So apparently the NBA, and this I'm going to read this one directly. In response to the rumored NBA investigation into Rick Brunson's promotion, Brunson took former associate head coach Johnny Bryant's place and assumed the same salary as Bryant. It's offensive that anyone would claim Rick didn't deserve his promotion. This one comes from MSG Sports. This is in regards to the NBA reportedly looking into and poking around the promotion of Rick Brunson. And this is built around Jalen Brunson being their best player. And here's what I got to say. NBA, you got to shut the fuck up. Like, at the end of the day, every level of some form of the team, of every team in the NBA has nepotism involved. Yes, is this nepotism by Rick Brunson getting this job? Possibly. More than likely, yes. But let's not act like he's not a former NBA player himself, right, to where he offers some value. But my question to the NBA is this. Are you going to investigate why Thanasis Antetokounmpo has made almost $20 million and not been a good NBA player because he plays on the team with his brother? Are you going to investigate the Lakers giving Bronny James guaranteed money as a second-round pick when that rarely happens? Are you going to investigate Billy Donovan III being the head coach of the Windy City Bulls with not much coaching experience and his father being there? And that's just 3 teams I named. Every team has a level of nepotism involved in it, whether it's from a player, a coach, a GM. Every single player does. Are we really worried about Rick Brunson? It'd be different if they promoted him and made him the highest paid coach or assistant in the league. He's an assistant coach on a team's coaching staff. Come on, what are we doing here? How you feel?
It just makes me wonder if other people had something to say about it. If other people reached out to the league and was like, hey, I don't know about that. Because otherwise, it's a silly investigation. Like, you're bringing negative attention to one of your premier franchises in the New York Knicks. People like it when the Knicks are good, just like the Lakers, just like the Celtics. It is what it is there. So, like, why would you even care if Rick Brunson got promoted? Like, what's the infringement here? Like, I don't get it. Like, what are we talking about? Like, okay, should he not have been promoted? Is he not doing his job? Well, is it because of the way Dante DiVincenzo was yelling at them during the preseason or something? Like, I don't get it. So the only thing I can think of is that other people made noise about it, and the NBA had to do something just to appease their thought process. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe it is, but but keep in mind, like, the NBA's already they fined the Knicks for finding tampering on Jalen Brunson's contract extension. Like, it just seems like the NBA is sometimes focused on the wrong shit. And here's the thing, I'm not against it. If you say you want to get nepotism out of the NBA, Cool. I'm not against that. But then you got to investigate every single franchise in the NBA, every single franchise. And you just got done celebrating the fact that LeBron James took the court with the Sun in a situation that was nothing but nepotism. When the Warriors actually wanted to draft LeBron to develop, Bronny to develop him. Where's the tampering in that?
And the thing is, I have no problem with it. Like, this is business. Like, this is business. So, like, that's what happens across all businesses, from car dealerships to McDonald's to gas stations to home ownership. Things are passed down, passed along. It just doesn't make sense. Steve-O say Dante snitched. That's, that's all I could think of, man. Like, he called with a deeper voice, like a little voice modulator on.
So we're saying Dante DiVincenzo did a Karen moment. He had a Karen moment.
You need to look into the New York Knicks situation. It doesn't look good. So that's all I could think of. Because other than that, this is nothing. This is not news. And to make the Knicks upset for no reason is just silly on the NBA's part.
Yeah, and it's like, if something does come out of this and they end up finding the New York Knicks, you're opening up a can of worms that I hope that the NBA is ready to hire the largest investigation firm in the league, because you got to investigate everybody at that point.
Yeah, Steve-O just made another good point. This league is built off tampering. Like, they literally manufactured players to go to the Knicks, to go to the Bulls, to go to anywhere they wanted, anybody they wanted to have the number one pick. Even the way Tim Duncan came to the San Antonio Spurs, like, all of it, So there's no reason to shine a spotlight on your own skeletons. Like, what are you doing? Like, but at least they, like the police, they just investigating themselves, really, because so nothing's gonna come from it. It is what it is.
That's a big fact. That's a big fact, man. Anything left, Kev, before we get up out of here, brother?
No, man, this is good. It was good to get in here. It's been like a week or two since you and I have done NBA Central together. So
yeah, because you've been too busy for me, bro. You've been a busy one lately.
Life be life.
Everybody used to me being the busy one, but like you've been busy lately, so it is what it is when it comes.
Oh yeah, LeBron to Cleveland.
Yeah, both times. Shit, like yeah. You got to get the hell up out of here. Like, NBA picks and chooses when they want to make tampering a thing. They pick and choose it, and honestly, it's just like either make a real effort to get it completely out the game, or just let it be what it's going to be, bro. Like, you have a legal tampering period. That doesn't even make any sense, bro. Like, just let people they really just need to make it to where after the day after the draft, just do your thing. Just negotiate.
Wait a minute. Go ahead. I'm about to talk about some football stuff I just saw.
Okay, bro. All right, y'all can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Pod at gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related, and we'll see you guys the next time we feel like making a video. Peace, y'all.
Hey.
This has been a presentation